Hey, welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about this super Boker club knife right here. Wow, what a nice knife this is. Um, the hype is not overblown on this knife, um, but it's not setting my heart on fire either. So we'll talk a little bit about that in the upcoming video. And if you'd like to hear more about it, go ahead and check it out.
So she got 2 stickers with it.
What is that, Olivia? Can you tell?
This is good for a car.
What do you do with it?
Can you tell what it is?
I don't know.
It's a tent.
A tent.
A princess castle tent.
No,
wow.
it just said just add air.
blow up?
Yes. You put a box fan at the end of it.
And it blows it up.
Cool.
They can go in there and play.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
Do you need help with that one, Olivia?
No.
Hey, welcome back to the fortified castle. We're going to be looking at this cool knife today. And man, I tell you what. Hey, snap in. There we go. It is a nice knife. It is a really nice knife. Before we take a look at that, I have some issues with this knife. It's not because it's a bad knife. It's other issues I have, and we'll talk about that a little bit. But I want to say hi to all my viewers. Welcome back to the channel. I really appreciate y'all. Don't forget, we have a live show today. I don't know whether this post will actually make it before the live show, but I think it will. So, check us out at 5 p.m. It's always fun. Stephen, Patty's Potato Peeler, will be there. I think he got a little banged up. I'm not sure whether he's going to make the show or not, but he's a pretty tough guy. So I think he probably will be there. So anyhow, let's look at this knife. So this is your standard size single blade trapper. So a trapper has a usually a clip blade on it. Okay, come on. Man, you know what? I think I'm going to have to get rid of my ducks because they're not letting my camera focus. Hey, there it goes. Yeah, it's not letting my camera focus. All right. Yeah. I don't know. This is 4 1/4 inches. It's fairly big, but usually, a trapper has a clip point blade usually and has a spade blade. That is the definition of a trapper. So when you take that spade blade off, the knife becomes a jack, a 2-bladed jackknife. And this is a single-bladed jackknife is what it really is. So you have really nice copper bolsters there and copper pins. And you could see copper liners. So these are not really liners, and that's the beginning of the problem I have with this knife. It's a integral liner bolster. So these are actually the scales, and this is an insert when that occurs. And you have a really nice burlap micarta insert on there. Just absolutely fantastic knife. And you have a nice, I'll call it a California clip. It's about half and half, but nice California clip blade on there, and beautiful stone wash on this. Look at the stone wash. Just absolutely gorgeous. Look at that. It's really well done. This is one of the best stone washes I've seen. And then it's also black washed. And I think that's a really good choice by Boker because they used A1 tool steel in this knife. So if you know anything about that, A1 tool steel really corrodes quick. it doesn't take a whole lot for O1 tool steel to start corroding. It's a great steel, so it's tougher than 1095 and it'll hold the edge a little longer than 1095, but it's really not an upgrade. It's still a tool steel like 1095 is, and that's another problem I have with this knife. So you see the Boker Soldier right there, and nothing on the other side. So man, nice knife. That is a nice knife. Really nice container. You got 2 zippers here. Came in belt lining, 3 pockets. Nice, really nice. I like that. Came in a pretty nice box. So how could I absolutely have any problem with this knife whatsoever? Because it's gorgeous. It's beautiful. Great pull on it. It's kind of light to beginning, and then it gets tough. Really tough. You can barely push this down. Really solid spring on this. Listen to the back talk there. Let's look at that. Dead on centering there. So yeah, really nice knife. No gaps. What possibly could I complain about this knife? Well, it's the price. Okay, so it's the price. So typically these knives go between $180 $200, these copper knives that they produce. And sometimes, like a good price, it'd be $180. I paid $75 for this, so they're clearing them out for whatever reason. At Smoky Mountain Knife Works, I'd suggest you jump on top of that and buy them. So I bought this knife, and I got a Kaiser. This was $48 right here, and they sent me a free knife, and they sent me a free coin. This is a Kaiser 11th anniversary coin, and they sent me a pocket sharpener. So yeah, I'm loving Smoky Mountain Knife Works today. But yeah, I'd recommend going and getting one of these knives in your favorite pattern. At $75, that's a steal. But back to the problem with this knife. So the reason these knives are so expensive is because they're made in Solingen, Germany. German engineering. It is good. Yeah. And we have no idea where this thing was made. Okay, it says Solingen, but over the past couple of years, there's a lot of confusion on whether these are actually made in Germany. We know parts are produced in China, and then they're sent to Germany and assembled in Germany. And isn't that okay? I mean, American manufacturers do it too. Case sources parts and they're not 100% American made in the USA by that definition. So, what's the big deal? Well, because they're charging so damn much for it, right? Because they put a hefty price tag on these things, like they manufacture them in Germany, and you really can't tell. And by the way, Boker is not helping you with that. So they're not explaining that, hey, when it has a Solingen stamp on it, it is made by us here in the factory and with German parts. They're not saying that. And they're not saying, hey, if it has this tang stamp on it, it's, partly, it's mostly shipped parts and made and put together in Germany. And they're not saying, when it says Boker Solingen Germany, then it's made by us. And so it's very confusing. I don't think anybody's figured that out. Some people have made statements about it, but I don't know. I can't figure it out. So, if they're selling a knife that cost $10-$20 to be made, Chinese parts in a Chinese factory, and then selling it for $180 because a naturalized German spends 10 minutes putting this knife together. Yeah, I've got an issue with that. The other thing is, a lot of people wouldn't even consider this a traditional knife, because when you look at it, you have this bolster and integral bolster and liner, and it's clearly manufactured, and it just, a lot of people just don't consider that to be traditional, and that's a criticism on this knife right here, these wonderful Rosecraft knives. That's one of the criticisms of these knives, is that they're integral. You have an integral bolster and liner here. You can tell that this thing is just has a sander run down it. These look like, to me, they get a little better work. You can see how that bone is rounded nicely and worked into here. There's a flare right there. I'm not sure you can really do that on a machine. I don't think you can. But when you, let's see, what's an example? I had an example here. Like when you look at that, yeah, you can make this and not involve a human being in that. It could all be machine done, and the only time these rounds are really ever hit is with a buffer to buff them out some. Maybe they finish them a little bit with sandpaper, but that's pretty clear that that's. I don't think somebody sits on a grinder and forms these rounds. I think this is all machine made. I think there's a little more human touch to this than some of the other knives that are produced. But that's a criticism, right, of these knives. That's a criticism of this knife. That these are not really traditionally made. They're mostly made on machine, a GEC. I don't hold that opinion. I see a lot of handwork on these GECs. I know they use a lot of machining on them. But I also think they use do a lot of handwork on these, and but that's the criticism, is that they're mostly machine made. These GCs retail really nice knives, but they retail around the $120 mark. The prices are pushed up by scalpers, but is this knife better than this? No, it's not. Okay, it's a nice knife, but this is a much better knife, and made in America, 100% made in America. So how, I just don't think the price justifies these knives. Or the knife is justified by the price, and that's my biggest problem with them. This knife is manufactured to be manufactured quickly. I think it's mostly machine made. I think all of this is cut out, that very little handwork goes into it. These parts are put together and then pinned by a machine, and then they're probably finished by a human being, is what I believe. Maybe wrong, but I just don't think the price justifies it. That's why you have a single blade on these and not a double blade like this, because it's easier, faster, quicker, and less expensive to put the knife together like this than like this right here. This is obviously put together by a human being, but they're not hefting these like they used to either. I wanted to show you guys. You can see the spaces there between the bolsters and the liners. And if this knife was hefted traditionally, that would have been sanded until the bolster merged with the liner. You wouldn't see that little gap. Now, some of these cases will be better than others. You can see right there, you don't see much of a gap between the liner. But I think that's kind of probably incidental. I think they hit these things one time. When you look at this, this whole sandwich, that is a knife, you can kind of tell. You see how the liner kind of goes up and down. It's not completely even with the back springs. And traditionally, this would be the sandpaper. The cutler would take the knife like this and actually form the knife like that. The knives were overbuilt, and so it was the hefter who gave the final form to the knife. But you could tell these things are just punched out, sanded, and then put together. And I think they're put together well, but steps have been taken to make it quicker in the final assembly of these knives. So I recommend you buy one of these. I like having one. I wish I could get more, but usually they're too expensive. And I do buy expensive knives, but I'm not going to spend that on a knife like this. I'm going to spend a couple $100 on a knife that took something to build, a knife that's worth it, and that's really the problem I have with these knives. I just don't think the cost, justifies what they put into these things, and they're basically ripping people off, is my opinion. And before you guys hammer me on that, I've got like 75 Bokers, okay? I just prefer to buy the older ones than the newer ones. And so I'm not like a Boker hater. I just, I wish they put a little bit more into their knives. And so that's the video. Hope to see you guys in the live show, and thanks a lot.